I'm going to now show you how to draw a table using one-point perspective. In order to draw this, the first thing we need to do is understand what scale means and be able to figure out how big this should be in relation to our room. The back wall of our room is back here, just so that you can orient yourself. We're going to start with the front surface, which is where you should always start unless you're doing a reverse transparent box. So you're going to start with the front surface and you're going to draw up, across, and down. And you're probably going to want to use a ruler in order to get these legs to be exactly the same so that the front of the table will look correct. I've now removed the line so that it does look as though you can get under the table. Now I need to move to the other side of the table. Now, if we want to be exact here, we could probably use X plus diamond, but we're just going to go ahead and eyeball where this belongs, keeping in mind, of course, that it is the side of the table and the leg that's farther away from us should look smaller, whereas the one closer to us would look bigger. I've now drawn two lines up, and I'm going to take my eraser and I'm going to erase between the lines. And as you can see on the front leg right now, we actually have two sides. We have a front side and the actual left side of the leg. But there's a problem, because we need to know where this line belongs on this side. There's an easy way to discover that, as you're about to see. I'm going to take this front horizontal and I'm going to continue it right to the corner of the table. At that point, I'm going to draw an orthogonal line back, and wherever it hits that leg, I'm going to draw orthogonally back, so that, of course, as I go, the edge of the table is going to be getting smaller. You can see that this area over here is smaller than this area over here. So by doing that, I now have this entire front leg, and I've established the top of the desk here, actually the underside of the top of the desk, and over here as well. So we need to move on now. Now, as you can see, I've done a little bit of erasing so that this front leg right here does now appear to be opaque. And of course, the lines, the green lines that I'm leaving in place up here don't really need to be in place anymore either, but I'm going to leave them so that you can remember how we got that underside of the left side of the table. Now, in order to figure out what the rest of the legs look like, it's actually quite easy, because everything is going to guide off of this front corner leg. That is to say that if we take this front corner leg and continue across, you can see we wind up with the other side. That was the line that we erased initially. Now, if we go from this back corner, and I'm going to put that in as a dotted line, if I go across here, and of course this is horizontal also, you will see that this back leg will now give us the side of this other leg. So let me do that for you. I've now drawn an orthogonal line back from that front corner. And you can see that it looks as though the inside of this leg is much thicker than this one. That's only because this one is closer to the vanishing point. It's farther off to the left. Now at this point, I can do a little bit of erasing, not too much, and that is where the back leg is going to go up, wherever that hits that line, straight up. So these lines should all be vertical, horizontal, and orthogonal. I don't believe that I've said that in this video, so let me make it clear that we do want to have all the lines that we're drawing right now be horizontal, vertical, or orthogonal. We have not drawn any guidelines whatsoever that are diagonals. All right, so now what we have is we have leg number 1 and we have leg number 2. And we have the front of leg 1, front of leg 2, and the side of leg 1 and the side of leg 2. Now, how do we decide where the side of leg 3 is? Well, if you've been watching, you remember that these were connected before, and now we're going to look at this edge, because that edge we're going to take back, and of course this is orthogonal, so this is going to our vanishing point. And then where we had, I'm going to do this in black for you, just like I did on the front of the table. Okay, and now that I've done that, I can now go horizontal until I hit that line. And I'm going to erase a little bit of the back line of the room. I'm sorry, not the back line, the corner of the room. And now I'm going straight up here, or as straight as I was able to get. Let me give that another go. And there I go. And so now what I have is leg number 1 complete, leg number 2 complete, and leg number 3 complete. I have now a front surface and a side surface for all 3 legs. Now you'll notice that what I have in this orange, let me get rid of this writing here real quickly. What I have in orange right now is something that looks like this. The dotted lines or solid lines. And then I've got this and this and this. This is the footprint of this leg. This is the footprint of this leg. And this is the footprint of this leg. So now I still have a back leg here, and I need to figure out how that's going to go in there. Well, it should stand to reason that because these 2 legs were in alignment, and these 2 legs were in alignment also, going back to the vanishing point, that these would be associated as well. And in fact, they are. So let me do that right now. I'm going to switch to blue to keep it clear, and hopefully I can draw this in for you. All right, so right now I would be drawing horizontally back to the corner of the room, and I would be drawing back here until I cross that line, and of course this would be an orthogonal, once again going to the vanishing point. Where those 2 intersect, that's going to be the corner of my back leg. So if I draw straight up, and then I use that horizontal right there, and I get to the corner of the room and I draw straight up. Now this corner over here, I'm sorry, this front of the leg is the same as the front here. And then of course I can't see this back leg, I can just see the side there. If I was able to see it, then I would have to go to this back edge right there, and if I was able to see it, I would now know that this would go back to here, and let me switch and use the blue again. This would go back to here, and this would go up like that. But of course I can't see it, so I'm going to stop right there. So I'm going to draw in, and you should not do this on your drawing, but I want you to be able to see the inside of that back leg. Okay, there's the inside of that back leg. This is a horizontal right there. On the side here is an orthogonal. Just like this is horizontal, that's orthogonal. On the front here, it's the same thing. These are both horizontals. These are both orthogonals. And that would complete our table, because we have the side here complete, And I'm going to fill in this leg also, which I think will help the reality of the drawing. All right, that's, I think, a little bit more realistic for you. I'm now going to get rid of some of these guidelines because you can always rewind the tape and see how we got here. I want you to see that the table does look quite realistic, keeping in mind, of course, on an iPad it's next to impossible to draw perfect horizontals, perfect verticals, and perfect orthogonals. So there we have a table. Notice that the table, the corners of the legs do stop in the corner of the room. That doesn't necessarily have to happen, but if the front leg does, then the back leg probably should also if you're drawing in one-point perspective. Now, if you want to go beyond what we've done, we could turn this into a chair. So I'm going to show you quickly how to do that. We can draw up to there, just like we did with the green over here. And now we can, I'm going to just erase this corner a little bit, and I'm going to get rid of that line a little bit, because now I'm going to go up like this. All right. Let me make that a little bit shorter so that I'm sure that it fits on the iPad. Now, of course, you would make this a lot taller if it was going to be the back of a chair. But because of size constraints, I'm going to leave it like that. So I've just taken this leg and grown it here. Now I need to get the inside right here. So now this is going to be the area. I need to get rid of this. This is very important. This is something that students often forget to do, and that is, this is the inside. We have to now go orthogonal, orthogonal, and once we've done that, we can go up and then horizontal. And you can see, yes, your corners should hit the corner. All right, you can see now what I've done. This, if you really want to look at it this way, it looks sort of like a little box sitting on top of a table that just hits the edge of the table. But if this were made bigger, then of course this would look like the back of a chair. Then if you'd like to, you could even put armrests on the chair by coming up like this, and at whatever point you want to come out here, let's just say that I'm coming out like that. All right, I'm going to take this corner and I'm going to come up like that. So this has to come straight up. All right, and then go across like that. I'm going to just eyeball this. So this would be the front surface of my armrest. Let me really quickly fill this in for you so that you can see it separate from what I've already drawn. Okay. So this is the front of my armrest, and then of course I'd have to go 3D on that. In order to go 3D, I would need to, of course, draw some orthogonals. I'm just putting this corner back in. Draw some orthogonals, orthogonal, and then I could go from this leg up, and then I would draw back, and then of course that would wind up hitting an orthogonal also. All lines that we draw are orthogonals. So there we have one armrest, and then of course you could go ahead and take this corner and go out like that, and the start of your next armrest would be over here. So I'm going to stop at that point because I don't want to overwhelm you, but at this point you now have a chair that is on its way to being a chair with an armrest. These are all things that can grow out of a one-point perspective table. Remember, all of our lines are horizontal, vertical, or orthogonal. There are no lines here that are not one of these three varieties of line. Good luck.